Hello and welcome back to the reading of the Holy Catholic Bible. This week is going to be chapters 37 through 40. Chapter 37, the Ark. And Beastiel made also the Ark of Sedum wood. It was 2 cubits and a half in length, and a cubit and a half in breadth, and the height was 1 cubit and a half. And he overlaid it with the purest gold within and without, and he made to it a crown of gold round about, casting 4 rings of gold at the 4 corners thereof, 2 rings on one side, and 2 on the other. And he made bars of sedum wood, which he overlaid with gold, and he put them into the rings that were at the sides of the ark to carry it. The propitiatory. He also made the propitiatory, that is the oracle of the purest gold, 2 cubits and a half in length, and a cubit and a half in breadth. 2 cherubims also of beaten gold, which he set on the 2 sides of the propitiatory, 1 cherub in the top of one side, and the other cherub in the top of the other side. 2 cherubims at the 2 ends of the propitiatory, spreading their wings and covering the propitiatory, and looking one towards the other and towards it. Table and vessels. Oh, one thing. The propitiatory, a cover for the ark, was also considered to be God's resting place. Table and vessels. He made also the table of sedum wood in length 2 cubits, and in breadth 1 cubit, and in height it was a cubit and a half, and he overlaid it with the finest gold. And he made to it a golden ledge round about, and to the ledge itself he made a polished crown of gold, of 4 fingers' breadth, and upon the same another golden crown. And he cast 4 rings of gold, which he put in the 4 corners at each foot of the table, he over against the crown, and he put the bars into them, that the table might be carried. And the bars also themselves he made of sedum wood, and overlaid them with gold. And the vessels for the divers uses of the table, dishes, bowls, and cups, and censers of pure gold, wherein the libations are to be offered. The candlestick. He made also the candlestick of beaten work of the finest gold, from the shaft whereof its branches, its cups, and bowls, and lilies came out, 6 on the 2 sides, 3 branches on one side, and 3 on the other. 3 cups in a manner of a nut on each branch, and bowls withal, and lilies, and 3 cups of the fashion of a nut in another branch, and bowls withal, and lilies. The work of the 6 branches that went out from the shaft of the candlestick was equal, and in the shaft itself were 4 cups after the manner of a nut, and bowls withal at every one, and lilies, and bowls under 2 branches in 3 places, which together made 6 branches going out from one shaft. So both the bowls and the branches were the same, all being work of the purest gold. He made also the 7 lumps with their snuffers. And the vessels were where the snuffings were to be put out of the purest gold. The candlestick with all the vessels thereof weighed a talent of gold. Altar of incense. He made also the altar of incense of sedum wood, being a cubit on every side, 4 square, and in height 2 cubits, from the corners of which went out horns. And he overlaid it with the purest gold, with its grate and the sides and the horns. And he made to it a crown of gold round about, and 2 golden rings under the crown at each side. Then the bars might be put into them, and the altar be carried. And the bars themselves he made also of sedum wood, and overlaid them with plates of gold. Oil of sanctification and incense. He compounded also the oil for the ointment of sanctification, incense of the purest spices, according to the work of a perfumer. Chapter 38. Altar of Holocaust. He made also the altar of holocaust of sedum wood, 5 cubits square, and 3 in height, the horns whereof went out from the corners, and he overlaid it with plates of brass. And for the uses thereof he prepared divers vessels of brass, cauldrons, tongs, flesh hooks, pot hooks, and fire pans. And he made the grate thereof of brass in manner of a net, and under it, in the midst of all the altar, a hearth, casting 4 rings at the 4 ends of the net at the top, to put in bars to carry it. And he made the bars of sedum wood, and overlaid them with plates of brass. And he drew them through the rings that stood out in the sides of the altar. And the altar itself was not solid, but hollow of boards and empty within. The laver of brass. He made also the laver of brass, with the foot thereof, of the mirrors of the woman that watched at the door of the tabernacle, the court with its pillars and hangings. He made also the court in the south side where hangings of fine twisted linen of 100 cubits, 20 pillars of brass with their sockets, the heads of the pillars, and the whole graving of the work of silver. In like manner, at the north side of the hangings, the pillars and the sockets and heads of the pillars were of the same measure, and work in metal. But on that side that looketh to the west, there were hangings of 50 cubits, 10 pillars of brass with their sockets and the heads of the pillars, and all the graving of the work of silver. Moreover, towards the east he prepared hangings of 50 cubits, 15 cubits of which were on one side, with 3 pillars and their sockets, and at the other side, for between the two he made the entry of the tabernacle. There were hanging equally of 15 cubits, and 3 pillars, and as many sockets. All the hangings of the court were woven with twisted linen. The sockets of the pillars were of brass, and their heads with all their gravings of silver, and he overlaid the pillars of the court also with silver. And he made in the entry thereof an embroidered hanging of violet, purple, scarlet, and fine twisted linen that was 20 cubits long and 5 cubits high, according to the measure of all the hangings of the court. And the pillars in the entry were 4 with sockets of brass, and their heads engravings of silver. The pins also of the tabernacle and of the court round about he made of brass. The value of the offerings. These are the instruments of the tabernacle of the testimony, which were accounted according to the commandment of Moses in the ceremonies of the Levites, by the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest, which Bealseel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, had made as the Lord commanded by Moses, having for his companion Eliab, the son of Achisamach, of the tribe of Dan, who also was an excellent artificer in wood, and worker in tapestry and embroidery, in violet, purple, scarlet, and fine linen. All the gold that was spent in the work of the sanctuary, and that was offered in gifts, was 29 talents, and 730 sickles according to the standard of the sanctuary, and it was offered by them that went to be numbered from 20 years old, and upwards of 603,550 men able to bear arms. There were moreover 100 talents of silver, whereof were cast the sockets of the sanctuary, and of the entry where the veil hangeth. 100 sockets were made of 100 talents, 1 talent being reckoned for every socket. And of the 1,775 he made the heads of the pillars, which also he overlaid with silver. And there were offered of brass with 72,000 talents, and 400 sickles besides, of which were cast the sockets in the entry of the tabernacle of the testimony, and the altar of brass with the gate thereof, and all the vessels that belonged to the use thereof, and the sockets of the court as well round about as in the entry thereof, and the pins of the tabernacle and of the court round about. Chapter 39. Vestments for the priest. And he made of violet and purple, scarlet and fine linen the vestments for Aaron to wear when he ministered in the holy places as the Lord commanded Moses. The ephod. So he made an ephod of gold, violet and purple, and scarlet twice dyed, and fine twisted linen, with embroidered work, and he cut thin plates of gold, and drew them small into threads, that they might be twisted, with the woof of the foresaid colors, and 2 borders coupled one to the other, in the top of either side, and a girdle of the same colors, and as the Lord had commanded Moses. Jewels for the ephod. He prepared also 2 onyx stones fast set, enclosed in gold, engraven by the art of a lapidary, with the names of the children of Israel, and he set them in the sides of the ephod for a memorial of the children of Israel, as the Lord had commanded Moses. The rational. He made also a rational with embroidered work, according to the work of the ephod, of gold, violet, purple, and scarlet, twice dyed, and fine twisted linen, 4 square, double the measure of a span, and he set 4 rows of precious stones in it. In the first row with a sardius, a topaz, and an emerald. In the second, a carbuncle, a sapphire, and a jasper. In the third, a ligurius, and a agate, and an amethyst. In the fourth, a chrysolite, an onyx, and a beryl, set and enclosed in gold by the rows. And the 12 stones were engraved with the names of the 12 tribes of Israel, each one with its several name. They made also in the rational little chains, linked one to another of the purest gold, and 2 hooks and as many rings of gold. And they set the rings on either side of the rationale, on which rings the 2 golden chains should hang, which they put into the hooks that stood out in the corners of the ephod. These both before and behind so answered one another, that the ephod and the rationale were bound together, being fastened to the girdle, and strongly coupled with rings, which a violet fillet joined. Thus they should flag loose, and be moved one from the other, as the Lord commanded Moses. Tunic of the ephod. They also made the tunic of the ephod all of violet, and a hole for the head in the upper part of the middle, and a woven border round about the hole, and beneath at the feet pomegranates, violet, purple, scarlet, and fine twisted linen, and little bells of the purest gold, which they put between the pomegranates at the bottom of the tunic round about, to wit, a bell of gold and a pomegranate, wherewith the high priest went adorned, when he discharged his ministry as the Lord had commanded Moses. The mitres, breeches, and girdle. They made also, They made also the tunic of the ephod all of violet, and a hole for the head in the upper part. At the middle, and a woven border round about the hole, and beneath at the feet pomegranates of violet, purple, scarlet, and fine twisted linen. And little bells of the purest gold, which they put between the pomegranates at the bottom of the tunic round about, to wit, a bell of gold and a pomegranate, wherewith the high priest went adorned, when he discharged his ministry as the Lord had commanded Moses. The mitres, breeches, and girdle. They made also fine linen tunics, with woven work for Aaron and his sons, and mitres with their little crowns of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine linen, and a girdle of fine twisted linen, violet, purple, and scarlet twice dyed, of embroidery work, as the Lord had commanded Moses. They made also a plate of sacred veneration of the purest gold, and they wrote on it with the engraving of a lapidary, the Holy of the Lord, and they fastened to it the mitre with a violet fillet, as the Lord had commanded Moses. The tabernacle is finished, so all the work of the tabernacle and of the roof of the testimony was finished. And the children of Israel did all things which the Lord had commanded Moses. And they offered the tabernacle and the roof and the whole furniture, the rings, the boards, the boards, the bars, the pillars, and their sockets, the cover of ram skins dyed red, and the other cover of violet skins, the veil, the ark, the bars, the purgatory, the table with the vessels thereof, and the loaves of proposition, the candlestick, the lamps, and the furniture of them with the oil, the altar of gold, and the ointment, and the incense of spices, and the hanging in the entry of the tabernacle, the altar of brass, the grate, the bars, and all the vessels thereof, the laver with the foot thereof, the hangings of the court, and the pillars with their sockets, the hanging in the entrance of the court, and the little cords and the pins thereof. Nothing was wanting of the vessels. They were commanded to be made for the ministry of the tabernacle, and for the roof of the covenant, the vestments also which the priest, to wit, Aaron and his sons, used in the sanctuary. The children of Israel offered as the Lord had commanded, and when Moses saw all things finished, he blessed them. Chapter 40. Moses commanded to set up for the tabernacle. Moses commanded to set up the tabernacle, And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, The first month, the first day of the month, thou shalt set up the tabernacle of the testimony, and shalt put the ark in it, and shalt let down the veil before it. And thou shalt bring in the table, and set upon it the things that are commanded, according to the rite. The candlestick shall stand with its lamps, and the altar of gold, whereon the incense is burnt, before the ark of the testimony. Thou shalt put the hanging in the entrance of the tabernacle, and before it the altar of holocaust, the laver between the altar and the tabernacle, and thou shalt fill it with water, and thou shalt encompass the court with hangings, and the entry thereof. Command to anoint the tabernacle, and thou shalt take the oil of unction and anoint the tabernacle with its vessels, that they may be sanctified, the altar of holocaust and all its vessels, the laver with its foot, Thou shalt consecrate all with the oil of unction, that they may be most holy. Command to anoint Aaron and his sons. And thou shalt bring Aaron and his sons to the door of the tabernacle of the testimony. And having washed them with water, thou shalt put on them the holy vestments, that they may minister to me, and that the unction of them may prosper to an everlasting priesthood. And Moses did all that the Lord had commanded. Moses sets up and arranges the tabernacle. So in the first month of the second year, the first day of the month, the tabernacle was set up. And Moses reared it up, and placed the boards, and the sockets, and the bars, and set up the pillars, and spread the roof over the tabernacle, putting over it a cover, as the Lord had commanded. And he put the testimony of the ark, thrusting bars underneath, and the oracle above. When he had brought the ark into the tabernacle, he drew the veil before it, to fulfill the commandment of the Lord. And he set the table in the tabernacle of the testimony at the north side, without the veil, setting there in order the loaves of proposition. As the Lord had commanded Moses, he set the candlestick also in the tabernacle of the testimony, over against the table on the south side, placing the lamps in order, according to the precept of the Lord. He set also the altar of gold under the roof of the testimony, over against the veil, and burnt upon it the incense of spices, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he put also the hanging in the entry of the tabernacle of the testimony, and the altar of holocaust of the entry of the testimony, offering the holocaust and the sacrifices upon it, as the Lord had commanded. And he set the lever between the tabernacle of the testimony and the altar, filling it with water. And Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and feet when they went into the tabernacle and the altar, drawing the hanging and the entry thereof. The glory of the Lord fills the tabernacle. After all things were perfected, the cloud covered the tabernacle of the testimony, and the glory of the Lord filled it. Neither could Moses go into the tabernacle of the covenant, the cloud covering all things, and the majesty of the Lord shining, for the cloud had covered all. If at any time the cloud removed from the tabernacle, the children of Israel went forward by their troops. If it hung over, they remained in the same place. For the cloud of the Lord hung over the tabernacle by day, and a fire by night, in the sight of all the children of Israel, throughout all their mansions. And now we would be on to the book of Leviticus. However, since Advent starts next week, we are actually going to take a slight break from the Old Testament. We will be back after the month of December. I figured all throughout Advent it would be good so as to start the New Testament. So next Sunday, we will be starting on Matthew. So we are going to learn more about our Lord Jesus Christ, and the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. We're going to be learning more about God. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and God bless.